He was mentally challenged. He was a little slow. He didn't fit in, and he was at our senior high youth event. The other youth weren't cruel, they just weren't exactly inclusive. The others had enough tact not to ask out loud what he was doing at their event, but they didn't help him be there fully. They didn't know him, and they weren't going to get to know him, at least not until we experienced a parable of Jesus. Yesterday, I was reminded of that event listening to Marvin's sermon on the parable of the Good Samaritan that Jesus told in answer to the justifiably legal question, "Who is my neighbor?" We were acting out some parables that fit the theme of the youth retreat. The Good Samaritan is such a great parable for youth to portray. They love the cast of characters from which to choose: the human, the robbers, the priest, the Levite, the Samaritan, the innkeeper, and especially the ass that carries the wounded man on his back. One kid wrote vacancy on his hand and opened and closed the palm like a flashing neon sign in front of the inn. Seeking to include everyone, the unappreciated and slightly welcome boy was assigned the Levite role. He was instructed to follow the priest and pass by the beat-up kid on the other side. He said he understood. The stage was set. One guy walking who was accosted by 4 overzealous robbers, beat up, left by the road. Next, the youth playing a Jewish priest walked by as the wounded boy moaned and cried out in pain for help. The boy with challenges was up to his challenge of playing the Levite role as he walked straight to his mark on the other side of the stage, until the guy on the ground moaned and cried for help. The Levite stopped, turned, and bent down to help the kid. The ruined play was interrupted and explanations were reinforced. You're playing a Levite who doesn't stop to help. You have to keep walking. The boy isn't really hurt, he's acting. No matter what, just walk by the other side. And then the girl playing the Samaritan can come behind you and she'll help. Responsive, reassuring nods were given. Action. Take 2. One youth walked, the robbers abused, the priest walked by, and the Levite almost got to the other side of the stage when he heard the wounded kid groan and cry for help, and he stopped and turned and bent down. A transformation occurred in that moment. The others no longer saw an outsider with differences, but a beloved and loving child of God who was so genuinely caring that he simply did not have the ability to walk by a person in pain. He just couldn't do it. He had to help. We all looked at him, at each other, and at ourselves in a new way. After 2,000 years of retelling one of the most famous stories by Jesus, we experienced it in a unique and life-changing way. What experiences of the stories by or about Jesus have led to your transformation? When have you experienced an old Bible story in a new way? When have you learned a life lesson from someone you tried to ignore?